All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to talk today about being the boss of your business. We've got PJ Zaji in Lubbock, Texas. How are you, man?
Oh man, I'm blessed. How are you?
Very good, very good. It's a good day. When I get any day I get to talk to you is a good day.
There you go, man. There you go. Same here, man.
Cool. So we're going to dive right in. So PJ, why don't you give us a little bit of background, maybe both on how you got started in the business and then what your business looks like today.
Sure, sure. Well, I'm in Lubbock, Texas, very small town. A lot of people know him by Texas Tech University. And I got into real estate back in 2013. And that was based on situation that I had in my life. And it was absolute accident that I end up in the real estate. And, I was in the food business. I had a restaurant business, and we did not do really well in the, last 2, 3 years of it. So we had to file bankruptcy on it. And right at that time, we got evicted from the apartment that we were living in. And, it was really, really bad situation. So right at that time, we find out that we are blessed to have a baby too, my first baby. So it got really, really devastating. And out of nowhere, somebody asked me, "Hey, do you want to be in real estate?" And I'm like, "That sounds good to me. Let's do it." So that's how I end up in the real estate. And I had zero knowledge about real estate, never bought a house, never sold a house, never bought any property whatsoever. So I started with a company here in Lubbock, and without having any knowledge whatsoever. So we didn't really have that much training at that time, or I didn't have time to go to the training to learn and start making money. I had to make money right away. So I made a sign and says, "I'm a real estate agent. How can I help you?" And I went to Walmart's parking lot and standing there holding the sign, with the suit, tie, and everything. So I was there from 8 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night every day. And believe it or not, we got about 4 closing from Walmart's parking lot. The funny part was people was talking to me and like, "Okay, I'm interested about buying a home. What do I do?" I'm like, "I really don't know what you got to do, but let's figure it out." So that's how I started the business. And soon enough, I find out, man, this is awesome. Like, my job basically is to show up, helping people, charming people, and providing value, and I get paid really good dollar for it. So about 6 months later, I asked my wife to get the license to help me out with this. And before you know it, she was as busy as I was. And then we opened the company. After that, we left the brokerage that we were with and opened Expand Realty back in 2015. And we started, by building a team at the beginning. Didn't work. We didn't know what we're doing, and let them go, and then or they leave, and just focus on me, my wife, and 2 assistants. And we did in 2017. I think we did about close to 140 transactions, just me, my wife, and 2 assistants. So it was amazing. But we got to the point that I made the most amount of money in my life. But I asked my wife, I'm like, "We're living in our dream home. We have a nice cars. We have everything that we always dream for. Why am I not satisfied with the life right now?" So we start digging into it and, hiring awesome coaches. John Cheplack was one of them. And John was amazing with opening our eyes to the reality that, hey, if you want to grow, you need people in your business. If you want to have people in your business, you make sure that you have the right people in your business. So it's been about 2 years, a year and a half journey for us to build a team. And we started in January 2019. And I think we are right at the 40 agents in our team right now in 4 different markets. And, we can't be more proud of them. Like, they make our life so much more fun, challenging, and we're all growing together. So that's a quick overview of what my life looked like.
Your whole history. So first off, I want to acknowledge how awesome the story is and just doing it, just getting out there, putting yourself out there. Full disclosure, I went to college in Lubbock, Texas, so I know it well. Is that the Walmart up on like 86th Street, or is there another one now?
82nd, Greg.
82nd. All right, that's wild. It's been like 20 years since I lived there, but that's super cool. I mean, you just gotta do what you do to literally feed your family.
Absolutely.
Literally.
I had no choice.
That's great. And I love how open you are too about, the fact that you had to do it and then undo it and then do it again and then realize that's not the way. I mean, we talked a little bit before, and I think the key that a lot of people don't understand, they think they just start a team, it's going to be great, all my buddies are going to come along and we're just going to go crush it. And sometimes it's burning it down a couple of times and starting fresh.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we thought at the beginning. We opened the company, and we rented the office, about 2,500, 3,000 square feet office with the 30 offices in it, really good location. And we opened the company. Within a month, we had about, I say 10 agents, 12 agents that we recruited. And within 30 days, we had 0. And it was devastating. We're sitting in front of the office, like this big old office out there with the 30 offices in it, and it's just me and my wife in it. Like it was not good.
Tell us a little bit more about that though. Like, what do people need to look out so they either don't have to do that or they can make that choice earlier?
Well, I say you got to be ready. You got to know about what you're doing. Like, you either got to be ready or you got to go through the experience of learning how it's going to be if you don't know what's going on. And usually we know the result. The result is going to be people either going to leave you or you're going to fire them, and you be in the middle of the mess, right? And knowing the duties, knowing that what are you expecting from your agents, and also what is your value to your agents. Like, if you have 0 value, we don't do all respect to all the brokerage, but I believe the brokerage in the entire country, it's something that, hey, come hang your license with me and then give me 20, 30, 40, 50% of your commission. Okay. What do you do for me? Well, we have this awesome website that you can use, and we have this CRM that you're never going to use it. And then we have a lot of training for you to go in. So in return, I want 30, 40, 50, 60% of your commission.
Right.
And this is not going to work. The industry is changing so rapidly that people getting smart with the value. What is your value for me to give you my 30, 40, 50% of my commission? Technically, I see it as a partnership. In any partnership, it got to be both ways. Otherwise, it won't work. If you are partnering with somebody else and you feel like you are doing so much and you're providing so much value, and in return, you're not getting anything, or you're getting very limited, well, you're probably going to quit that partnership very quick. But if we get to the point that we understand the team owner, the brokerage, they're truly a partner with the agent. If agent doesn't have a result and balance their personal and business life together and having the decent life that they can enjoy their job and personal life, then they're going to leave you.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing, I've said this a lot, I feel like people actually want, in a brokerage, I think people actually want they'll pay a more traditional model. They'll pay a 20% no cap, a 30% no cap, if they're getting actionable, like personal advice. If there's a mentor or a broker or somebody who cares what they're doing, who will go over their numbers, who will give them good advice, it's fine to give that up. Nobody's going to give that up to get a sign and a CRM they're never going to log into and a lockbox. Like, we can buy those for $100. That's
exactly right.
But yeah, and I would go a little bit further even to say sometimes people aren't good at voicing what the value is. Like, the value might even be there. They're just not good at explaining that, hey, you do get this, this, and this. And so, kind of like you said, sometimes people go out on their own and then they fail because they didn't realize all the little things that were being done for them, from the freaking mail slot to people putting in their listings for them or whatever that is. So, but yeah, to get real clear on that. So I love that you're honest about that.
Absolutely.
When you circled back, what did you do to keep that from happening when you started to add more agents the next time, or how did that next iteration go?
Man, we waited about 4 years. We waited 4 years. So it was day and night. Like you can compare what we did at beginning and then the second time that we tried. And between we tried to like little bit, one agent, two agent, no, it's not working. But honestly is being transparent. Honestly is truly put yourself in your agent's shoes. What they are going through in daily basis. Nobody said this is going to be easy. Following up with the leads, prospecting every day is not easy. And if you demanding from the agents to get out there and do the prospecting every day, and you don't cut them a break, and you don't even get to know them why they are not doing the task that they're assigned to you, then it's not going to work. Sooner or later, that person either going to get fired or they're going to quit. One of those. So we know how many tasks is in one transaction. I think they said 190 tasks it takes to get the lead all the way to the closing table. So out of this 190 tasks that is on the agent's table, how many of those can be done by the team owner and brokerage? See, agents don't really look at it that way. They feel like they can get everything done on their own, but you as a team leader, you as a broker, should have that wisdom to look at the big picture and say, okay, you can do one or two deals the way you're doing it right now. But I know based on the fact and experience that I have, if you have 5 transactions per month consistently, what you're doing right now is not going to work.
Yeah. Well, you and I talked a little bit about this earlier too, the idea that if you can only do 1 or 2 on your own and you could do 5 with support, but you have to give 50% of that up to the team. I'm not a mathematician, but you're still making more money if you're doing it that way. So I think, people don't always have that mentality of, what can I offload? And the thing that's funny about our business is that for some reason, the industry thinks you can be a marketer and a finance guy and good on the phone and training people. Like what one human can do all those things? Like nobody.
No way.
And look at corporate America. I mean, there's a marketing department. There's a acquisitions department. Heck, there's inside and outside sales. Like there's all these other departments, yet we're the only industry where one, person's running around trying to do all these things. So
exactly.
You're definitely right.
That's a value that team owner can provide. That when I say partnership, this is exactly what I mean. That, hey, I'm your partner. Now I'm going to take care of this very nasty task that you don't like to do, and you don't have time to keep yourself educated with it. The foundation is there, and I promise you that I'm going to bring innovation to the system every single day. That's my job. So you don't have to be worried about being up to date. You don't have to be worried about being efficient because the system is there. The system that you need to follow, and we know it works because it works for majority of people that are using it, then all you have to do is plug in.
Right.
Is it a turnkey business for me?
Yeah, and I think
turnkey business.
That's a great point though too, in the sense that it gives some context. If you have 4 other agents that are doing a great job with something and one person comes along and they're not having as many closings, maybe it's not the plan, maybe it's the agent. You got to troubleshoot and figure out all those things. Tell us a little bit more about that second iteration though. Like how did that like the next time that it really worked, like how did that all go down?
I don't know if Andy's here right now. I don't know. No, she's not. But I have one of my first agent back in January 2019. This is kind of funny, but it's painful to think about it, what I did. So it was just me and my wife and assistant. And we didn't have a team. And January 2019 was the time that we decided to start recruiting with the system and everything else. So right at that time for Christmas, December 2018, we were going to Bosnia. My wife is from Bosnia. So, it was a week before we leave, and I had no clue what I got to do with my business, the office, leads, follow-up calls. I have no clue what we're going to do. So I was standing here, and one of the agents, she was with another brokerage. She came here to drop off something. So I looked at her. I'm like, hey, I'm going to Bosnia tomorrow or next week, and we need someone to take care of our leads in, about 10,000 people that we have that needs to be followed up with. So would you mind to take it? Would you mind to join my team? And she's like, I'm happy where I am. I'm like, great. Well, can I give you my system and you just all the leads that comes in, take care of it. When I come back, you can just do 50-50 on it, whatever. You don't have to join my company. And then here and there, I'll talk to her husband, and then finally she joined before we left. Literally, I gave him the login to the follow-up boss, and I said, okay, we'll be back in a month. That's all I did. That was my first recruit. And then we go to Bosnia and come back, and I think Andy had about 6 contracts by the time that we came back. I'm like, ooh. So we sit down without even knowing the system. So yes, since then we developed an awesome system, measurable system, trackable system, and that everybody can plug into it and just get the result that they want. But since then till now, all of these experiences that we had, it shows us if the person is not the right person for your system, doesn't matter what you have. The prime example was Andy. Andy was hungry agent. She joined, we didn't have 0 training for her. Like I said, hey, go to the YouTube and search follow-up boss training.
Right.
And then just learn what follow-up boss does. And there's a bunch of people out there, just close the deals.
Right. Here's the password, go.
Great. But now you look at our system, is so awesome, is so dialed in, is integrated with a bunch of goodies out there that help the agents to close deals. But, some people can make it work. Some people, they can't.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're a bad agent. It's just your system is not right for them.
Right. Well, and the right person in the right seat. So, let's talk a little bit about that. So like you were good at sales because you had to be. So you made that happen. But then you started a team, so it's good initiative. And then it was like, oh, wait, we're not ready for this. Oh, wait, this didn't work. And so then it gave you kind of like taught you that it was hard, that you couldn't just bring on people like haphazardly without a plan and go. But then you stumbled into a second iteration. And that really, tell me a little more about where it grew from there. Like what happened after you came back and you're like, great, we just got some mailbox money, but like, then what?
Craig, it was like you're talking about the first time that we made a lot of money and, why we want to change it?
Yeah, or after you came back from Bosnia and you were like, okay, that worked.
Yeah.
Now
So,
what?
Craig, we came back and I'm like, okay, now we need to recruit agents, but, we got to have a support staff. We got to have enough leads to provide, and all those questions that everybody basically gonna come up with it. Like, how do I do training? How do I keep him accountable? How do I know I get my ROI on it? How do I know I get commission, disbursement right? How do I train him? All of those is stuff that we as an entrepreneur, we as a team owner, we always think about it. But the basic thing was come up with the basic plan. Basic, measurable, simple plan that yet not the perfect plan, and then start doing it and tweak it around as you growing, as you learning about your own system, right? And set the expectation is probably the biggest thing that I would do over and over again. Let your team member know, I'm in the growth phase. I'm going to do this stuff, but if it doesn't work, be with me. Right? I did everything for you to be successful because, again, you are my partner. If you don't make money, I'm not making money. So all of these changes, first of all, are you good with changes? And if they say, no, I can't do changes, I'm really, really good with sticking with the same thing, well, that's not the right team member for me. Right. Because I know the real estate require me to make changes in daily basis.
Yeah. No, I think that's brilliant. I think too many people recruit around like, we're awesome. We have all these leads. It's amazing. Come on, you'll crush it tomorrow. It's going to be great. And I think not enough people say, hey, here's the deal. We're still working on it. We're still growing. We've got this. We're figuring out as we go. We're open to your feedback. Does that align with you? I think too, especially in the age of social media, people are so like, everything's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. And then, when the minute somebody figures out it's not amazing, then at best you lose trust. At worst they're out of there. But I think that's such a good point. I think it's important to emphasize the idea that just being real with people.
Great.
We never have it all figured out. I'll tell you that. I've worked with some really impressive people, and none of them have it all figured out. Nor do I.
You never will. You
Right.
never will figure it out.
Right.
Because by the time that you figure it out, things changed.
Yep. Yeah.
There's no way that you can say at one point in my business, I'm done with it. This is working. It's just like a clock is working.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I've never met any successful business owner that say that.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. It literally
doesn't exist.
And if somebody figures that out, then let me know and
Think
I'll hire you.
I don't know if you read the book E-Myth, but amazing book. So they use McDonald's as a business model, not because they're cheap or whatever, because of the organization that they have. That anywhere you go to the McDonald's, you expect the same service, same thing that you expect from everything, right? And they're changing their system in daily basis based on the consumer's needs.
Right.
Okay? When you become a team owner or the broker, crucial to understand your avatar has changed. Your avatar from the home buyer and seller has changed to the agents. That's your customer.
Yeah.
Now, by product, buyer and sellers are connected to your customers. So you got to have a service and system to give it to your customers to be able to get the result that they want. But at the end of the day, your customers is not buyer and seller anymore. Your customers is the agents that you hire and recruit and you promise a bunch of stuff.
Right. Yeah. And it's another good book to read on that. I was trying to drop E-Myth into the chat, but I forgot who wrote it and I should totally know.
Michael Gerber.
There you go. Gerber. Right. I'll say it should be in my bookcase right there somewhere. I'll drop that in the chat. Michael Gerber. Another good book, not to be brand specific, but another good book about that is the Everybody Wins book, which is the Remax story about how when they came into market, the agents really did work for it was just a different thing. And it talks about the evolution of the agent being an independent person at the brokerage and kind of running their own business. So another good tip there, but I'll drop that in the chat. Also, we're going a little bit different today. If you guys have questions while we're talking, feel free to drop them in, ideally in the Q&A. It makes it a little easier for us to manage those. Megan is not on with us today, and she usually manages all the questions. So if you could bear with me attempting to do all those things in one shot. One more quick thing. I'm going to run, we can keep talking, PJ, but I'm going to launch a quick poll just to see who is on, like what role they're in. So we can talk a little more to that specifically. So if somebody is like, if we have more owners or more agents on, we can talk appropriately to that. So, so what happened after that? Like, what was the next? You just bring on more agents, PJ? Like after Andy, like was it more agents or more sports staff?
At one point, we were right at the 45 agents within like 9 months, but we were falling for a trap, like majority of team does.
Yeah.
Head count.
Yeah.
And if that's your business model, I'm not bashing about it. If your business model is to just get a bunch of agents and get $500,000 per agents and be happy with them and just provide the minimum service to them, even if you charge them $99 a transaction, I'm not bashing about any business model.
Right.
But in my business model, we are looking for Navy SEAL. We are looking for Navy SEAL team rather than the Army team, right?
Yeah.
We want people that they really have their soul, their heart, their focus in not just building a business, but just building a really good, positive life.
Yeah.
That they are good, to their kids. They spend time with their kids. Like we understand it. We understand because we have kids.
Yeah.
We know how frustrating it is for agents to balance the business and personal life. You get too busy with business, you start dropping ball on the family side. And you start focusing on the family side, you start dropping ball in the business. So how can we help people to balance these two? That's my goal. If you have that goal, I really don't see any way you can go wrong with it. If you're transparent with your agent, there's times I sit down with my agent and say, girls, this is how much money we're spending on the marketing, on the Zillow, and this is how much we brought back in 6 months. It's not profitable.
Right.
What can we do about it?
Right.
Instead of going out there and then starting treating their ass for something that they don't know any better, that if they're doing good or they're not doing good, right?
Right.
You just go and say, out of 6 months being in it, you go and say, hey, I gave you 100 Zillow leads and I get 0 closing. Oh, you're cut off.
Right. What are you not doing? Yeah, it's a conversation. It should be a conversation.
In the past 6 months, you didn't ask me anything.
Right.
You didn't tell me if I know the system, if there's any help I need. And anytime that, I want to do something is just a frustrating thing, what do you expect from me? I'm running away from leads.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what to do with them.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? There's probably 20 plus things that can go wrong. So like you got to figure out what are the things is it? There's not enough support. They don't have enough training. They don't know what to say. Like there's literally 20 different things why that could be happening. Or the leads could actually be bad. I know a lot of us, like, that's not our go-to, but they could actually be bad. But if the person's making notes, doing what they're supposed to be doing, then you can make a conscious decision that, hey, these leads are bad because they're doing all they can to talk to them. Talk to me a little bit about your agent accountability. Like, do you guys do like meetings or reviews, or like, how do you kind of view accountability?
That's the part that there is a fine line out there, man. Keep them accountable, and being an asshole is a very, very thin line out there.
Right.
Right. And something that me and you this morning, we were talking about it. And before we get to that accountability, let's go back a little bit and then look at the whole model as a piece. Because if you don't have your model set up right, if it's not trackable, you can't keep anybody accountable. They don't know what they're accountable for.
Right.
You go out there and you say, hey, here's how many leads I give you. Here's how many closing I'm expecting from you. They're not machine.
Right. You
can't
just say, hey, let me know how it goes.
I'm doing this. No, it doesn't work that way. Right? John always tells us, don't judge, identify. Okay?
That's good.
We always repeat that. Don't judge, because we as a human being, we are hardwired to be judgmental.
Yeah.
This didn't happen. Well, she didn't do this, or he didn't do this. Well, let's go find out what got on the way that person didn't do what they're supposed to. All right? And if the system is there, if you have a handbook in front of you that you hand it to them and say, hey, this is how we do things here. If they're not clear about it, oh, I told them one time. No, handbook that is being written for them, that you hand it to them and say, hey, this is how we do things here. If you ever have a question, please refer back to them.
Yeah.
And then if it's not clear, come back to me. And we are editing that handbook day by day. It's a training site.
Yeah.
But the purpose is the same thing. But if they don't know that accountability out there, if they don't know that system, you cannot keep them accountable.
Yeah.
That's why I want to talk about the system before we talk about accountability.
No, that totally makes sense. It's a moving target if there's no clear parameters.
Great. And before we start judging people, go back, look at your business. How are you setting up that business? Is there something else you can do to make it simple, to make it understanding, and to make it sustainable? If something is missing there, it's your job to fix it. Not the agents.
I couldn't agree with that more. It's funny. I always say to people all the time, I'm like, everything's really your fault. If you're the owner, it's really your fault no matter what. You hire a bad person, that's still your fault. They may have done a bad job, but you own the company. It's up to you.
Absolutely.
It's your responsibility.
Heart choose, mind justify.
Yeah.
So this is an emotional business, man. You can say one word that it's not right. They can be overheard, and they can ruin the entire culture of your company.
Yeah, that's true.
oh, my number one agent, she's the biggest asshole, but because if I let him go, I lose a lot of money, I won't. That sounds familiar with a lot of team owners.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right? And that's my first task that John Cheplack told me. When he was coaching me, I'm not endorsing John, but he's amazing, man. If you ever want to grow, I highly recommend to talk to John. But we had the incident 3 months after we had the team. Some of the agents stole the leads, from us, and it was just not good, right? So I called John. I said, John, this girl got 10 contracts, right? And she's stealing leads from me. How do I do this? He's like, you go sit down, talk to her, and you fire her. I'm like, I'm not doing that. He's like, you got to. That's what you do. Otherwise, sooner or later, everybody's going to find out that she stole leads from you and she's still in your team.
Yeah.
I literally left the office, get in my truck, and start crying. That's how stressed I was. Because, at the beginning of your time, that when you start, you're a technician, you're a badass agent, and you start growing a team, just be okay with not making money for at least 6-7 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes time to build that flow of the business. And that's one of the reasons a lot of teams, they can't sustain their team.
Yeah.
They got to be technicians still.
Yeah.
Technician, manager, and entrepreneur. If you decide to be an entrepreneur, you're not a technician anymore. Okay. So I was hurting financially big time in the first 6 months because we had not that many closings to catch up with the cost. You're sharing your profit with, half of your profit with another agent that they're doing a job. So at that time, I had to let my top producer go. Why? Because she stole lead from me. That was the right thing to do. There is a boundary in your business that you decide.
Yeah.
So I literally let her go, and I was sick to my stomach. Sick to my stomach. But in the meantime, take yourself out of the business and see what business requires you to do.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to grow.
Very hard decisions.
We talked a little bit about that earlier too. Like you have to grow. Just being a good agent doesn't set the stage for you being a good owner, broker owner, team owner. It's a different skill set. And I think honestly, people are starting to get more real about that now. People used to always just gloss it over. Now I think people are getting to be real about how hard it is. It really is hard. You shouldn't start a team.
You got to have passion. You got to have passion for people.
Right. You got to push through it.
And be honest to yourself. If you don't have it, nobody said that, teams are profitable.
Yeah.
We're talking about a lot of teams that you see out there that they're doing big names like number one team in the, this area, number one. They are usually the team owners now making money.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I've seen it that I'm telling you. I've been there that I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That all these shiny names that you see out there with massive production, they're not profitable company.
Yeah.
They're doing it for different reasons. So don't fall for the shiny object because not everything is the way that you think it is.
Right.
So if you're not careful, you go in it, you spend a lot of money, your return on investment is not there, and you can sustain it. You be out of the business really quick.
Yeah.
And think about your commission structure. So you go and say, hey, I do 50-50. Okay. Well, your competition is doing 80-20 with agents. Why are they going to join? Well, look at your organization right now and see why these people that you have already and they're paying whatever commission split they're paying, they can find a better deal somewhere else. Can they?
Yeah.
Why they're not living?
Right. You should at least know your market. We say that as agents, you should know the market. Why would you not know the market as an owner? Know your competition, know the other compensation models, know the other training and leads and all that.
Great. And I can disagree with you on that, I guess. I don't look at anybody's commission split.
Yeah, that's fair. There's two schools of thought on that. One of my favorite books ever in the world is a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. And the idea behind it is that if you create your own lane, it doesn't even matter what other people do. So, but that said, I think for anybody who's starting a business or wants to start a team or start a brokerage, should definitely be aware of the landscape around them.
Right. Correct.
You know.
Correct. Exactly. But if you're thinking about building a team, your individual agent, just please know what goes in it,
Yeah.
because you are going to hurt yourself as well as the people that you're recruiting.
Yeah.
If there's no concept out there, if there's no system out there.
Yeah.
And by system, I'm not talking about the CRM system and just the follow-up boss and the website. What do you do with that?
Yeah.
That's the part that is very important, and that's the part that they're paying you for. Like with the follow-up boss, me and Megan, we have conversation almost in weekly basis.
Yeah.
Tweaking stuff around in follow-up boss to make it so simple for agent to just be able to click, take care of it, and do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
You guys do that really well. And we had a session last week with Jeff Moore where we talked a lot about that too, kind of automating some of that, but keeping it simple. It's not for the agents to automate all that. The company provides that.
Exactly. That's what they're paying you for.
Right.
That's why they bought the partnership with you, because they say, you do this, I do this, we both make money.
Yeah, exactly.
And being personal, like I can't tell you enough with this. If you have no connection with your team, no way it's gonna work.
Yeah.
They're gonna make money and they're gonna move, and your culture of the team is gonna just start shrinking.
Yeah.
You have zero culture.
This business is way too hard to not at least be around people you want to be around.
Mm-hmm.
You should at least enjoy the people around you, because if you're going to work this hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you have one bad apple in it, it can create a mess in your culture really quick that it takes you months after you fire them to fix it back.
Right. Or if you let it go long enough, they can leave and take half the people with them.
Correct.
If you don't manage it well. So yeah, let's pivot a little bit into expansion, because you're in a couple other markets in Texas. At what point did it start to become obvious, or like when and why did you decide to go into other markets?
That was the vision from beginning. When I went from, my brokerage to open my own brokerage, that was the vision. I want to, have a not franchise, but franchise model into the business, and just have our presentation in the different part of the country, right? And have providing value to the agents that they can do business. And we can test it in our lab and make sure it works before we release anything to other markets.
Yeah.
But having different market was really difficult for me, because we were independent brokerage.
Right.
And we had to go be licensed in different states and different, MLS and everything. And then I was looking at it and the growth wise that I can be able to do the brokerage side by expansion. Like if I go expand to 6 different markets, there is no way I can take care of the broker side.
Right.
Right. And then we go back to providing value to the agent. You're not able to handle that many agents in that many markets. So that was the time that we start interviewing different brokerage to, broker ourselves through another brokerage. So we talked to, plenty of the different brokerages, from Keller Williams to Remax to EXP and all that. At the end, we decided to go with the EXP because of the expansion.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You got to kind of pick your battles, right? Unless you're going to hire a broker in different markets, or you're going to have that, you got compliance in different states, you have different types of, attorney review. I mean, there's so much to figure out. Right. I like that you took the focus back to team there. That definitely makes sense. But what were like the internal indications? Was it like, did you find an agent first in that market, or like how did you pick the market, I guess would be the question.
Honestly, the way we have our system set up right now, it works in any market as long as the real estate is doing well.
Okay.
So it's very simple. Robert Slack say it all the time that we are lead-driven company, right? Lead-driven company, that we generate online leads. We know how to prospect them. We have a system to predict who we need to follow up with, and we close deals. And anything happen outside of that, referral, open house, is the gravy on top. But our chicken fried steak is the online leads. We are a lead-driven company. So it doesn't matter what market. If you call me from Georgia tomorrow and say, hey, I want to work up here as a real estate agent, then within 24 hours, I can recruit you and give you a system that you can get out there and start making phone calls and make business.
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
great.
it doesn't matter which part of the country. We don't focus anywhere. Like we focus on talent that we can recruit.
Yeah, that's great. And that really makes sense. And I think, just for my curiosity, like, does that, and that's not an agent, right? It's not a staff person necessarily. It's like a licensee, ready, set, go. And just for some tactical stuff for people who are on, like, what is some of that? You don't have to give us the actual stuff, but like, it's a handbook. Obviously, it's a CRM, but like, what do they get, so to speak? If I signed up tomorrow and said I'm ready to rock, like, what do I get the next day by email?
Let's go talking about the turnkey business again. And
Yeah.
by any means, I don't claim that we have a badass, fully awesome system. We're working on it every day.
Yeah. Well, you've done it for a couple of years, so you're that far ahead.
We're not scared of trying different things. We bring it and I do a beta testing on it. If it's good, I'll give it to the agent. Before, we were just getting the software and give it to all the agents, drop them crazy, and then and then say, oh, this shit doesn't work.
Right.
So sorry. But now we do a beta testing for anything before we give it to the team. So what they get out of the team, more than just the tools, is going to be a system that there are people involved in it. There are software involved in it. Basically, from beginning to the end of the transaction, out of that 190 the tasks that they have to do, we probably take care of about 150 tasks for them.
Wow. That's awesome.
So the question is, go write down that 190 tasks that they have to do and see which one of those tasks you can take out of their plate based on your business model, based on how much you're charging. If you're only charging 10% commission split, there's not much you can do.
Yeah.
You see, there is not much those brokers can do for agent except, hey, here's the minimum that you can have. Oh, we give you dot loop, we give you a website, we give you a CRM system.
Yeah.
Go get them, Tiger.
Right.
But if you truly building a team that you partner up with them, is a lot more than that. It's a lot more than the pieces of the softwares, then actually have the support behind the scene that they take care of them for those 190 tasks.
Yeah.
So from transaction coordinating to lenders that they are using, to the AI that you have in the system, to the CRM system that you are using, how easy they can use that CRM system, how simple is that, how much you are putting innovation into the system so they can do less and spend more time with the family and still have the same amount of money, if not more.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's like the definition of a team, right? That's why you would join a team.
Great.
To get some of the administrative stuff off your plate, to get leads and marketing and all those bits and pieces, to be around other people that are like-minded, and to be able to have a little bit of a life or go on vacation and still make money because somebody else can help cover your closing or do a showing or whatever. I mean, that's it. It's really just about that simple.
That's exact. Like, to give you an example, on our listing team, we just decided about 2 months ago that we separate the buyers and listing team from each other. And that was based on the experience, not because the other team member did not qualify. It's just because we do stuff that needs to be followed. And that's the brand of the company. When you have the sign in front of your house, now you're looking at you publicly advertising your business. And it gotta be a certain things that happen and consumer experience the same experience every time that they call that sign. Does it make sense?
Absolutely.
So we did that, and then now we said, okay, you as a listing agent, your job is to go to the appointment, be able to present our listing presentation, and tell them what we do for the listing, because that's another thing. You gotta know how to present to all the values that our company is providing, right?
Yeah.
You leave the house and you got the listing accepted by them. you are signing a listing agreement with them, you step out of the house and you tag something specific to that person on the follow-up boss. Within 3 days, that house being on the market, pictures taken, everything is done, sign is there, without agent knowing anything about that.
That's awesome. That's why you would give someone 50% to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing it, the agent gotta go hammer the sign in the ground and run up there and get the flyers, bring
right.
it up,
taking pictures with their phone.
and they walk into the office, you look at him like, hey girl, how are you doing? Give me 30% of your commission.
Right.
I'm in the AC.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
It doesn't. And if it does, it's only to the short-term period. And
right. It won't last.
Yeah, they realize, man, I can get this somewhere else for a lot cheaper.
Right. Right. Well, I always say in the absence of value, price is the only metric. Like if you're not bringing value, then people do worry about the price. And if it feels great, I mean, they still worry about the money, or look at the money. But if it feels good, like there's some real value in running a business that way, for sure. And I think we see it a lot. I think there are, to be fair, we've given some criticisms of some other teams, but like, to be fair, I think there are some teams out there that are really doing a great job, and they have created that feeling. And we've been lucky to have a lot of them actually on the show. But I think that's just part of the deal. And something you and I talked about a little bit. And if anybody has questions, please feel free to drop them in Q&A. I'm happy to answer. But one of the other things that we talked a little bit about is just identifying what you're really good at and what you want to do as an owner, and then either supplementing that or just trying to stay in that lane. If that's like, if paperwork's not your thing, then to hire somebody to do paperwork.
Paperwork shouldn't be your thing.
Right.
For real.
Yeah.
Bookkeeping shouldn't be your thing.
Yeah. Right.
Showing houses shouldn't be your thing. When you decide to be a team owner, you sign off on all of those.
Yeah.
Your job is to make sure your agent are taken care of. Again,
but that's a big mindset shift for a good agent becoming a business owner.
It's really freaking hard, man. But that's the way you should be. Otherwise, just be an agent that you have assistants,
right?
And you're selling houses, you're doing all of that stuff. You still make a lot of money by doing that.
Right. But it's a lot easier,
correct,
so to speak.
Correct. And being a team owner, I realized that in the hard way. You don't do those stuff anymore. You hire people to do it for you.
Yeah.
And if you can't hire people, you're not in the position to be a team owner yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like that. It's the simplest way you can say it,
I've done it. That's based on my experience.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of money by making those mistakes.
Yeah.
And I thought I'm a hard guy, man. I thought I can get it done, but I work 80 hours a week. It almost caused my marriage.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if you're not careful with it, it can have some damages that permanently stays with your life. With your relationship, with your kids and all that. So you got to be very, very careful that if you have a plan, can you execute it? If you can execute it, is it sustainable?
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's a great point. And I think it is important to note that it does take that hard work, but you can't just crush it forever. There's got to be hiring an assistant or hiring an operations person or whatever that is. And it's funny, let's talk about that super quick. Like, one of the things about that is it's also not rocket science. Sometimes your top agent, something I've done a lot with people is bring a top agent and let them start to mentor people, or finding a strong agent who wants to come out of production, or maybe even like a medium agent who's good at real estate. They get all the details, but they're just not like a salesperson. That's a great person to elevate into a different role, and pay them a little bit of a salary or a fix, or pay them a piece of every transaction, whatever it is. But like, everybody talks that it's so hard to find talent, but you can also grow talent from within, and then they know your culture.
And we tried that too, Lee. And here's the challenge that we saw in that model. The top producing agent that is doing really well, they don't have time.
They don't want to be slowed down?
No. They don't want to sit out there and for 10% of the commission, coach and do everything with this agent, because they're spending the same amount of time on that.
Not usually the most patient.
Instead of getting 50%, they're only getting 10%.
Right, that's fair.
However, However, it might work for, medium level agents,
Yeah.
And then, however, what we are really trying to do is not executed yet, but we are talking and, planning it, is having a team inside of the team.
Right.
Follow
Right.
me?
Yeah.
So, John just got his license and joined our team. And I can't really give him this, expensive $200 Zillow lead
Yeah.
because John, not because I don't want to help him. John is not capable of closing in the maximum level.
Yeah.
He doesn't know nothing yet.
Yeah.
However, Josie, I'm just coming up with a name.
Yeah.
Josie is my seasoned agent that is doing, awesome kicking ass and knows what to do. So now John comes under Josie as an extension of the Josie.
Yeah.
So Josie is prospecting, setting up appointment, going to show houses, and then John is going with Josie with all of those. Eventually get to the point, Josie is the one that fitting John with the business.
Right.
And getting, 50% commission, split between them. And now Josie, instead of 10 transactions a month, she's closing 20 transactions a month.
Right. Right. No, I think that's super smart. I mean, coming from just that general attitude of abundance is really where it's at. If your people are
collaborating.
Right. If your people are scratching for the best leads because they don't have enough business, that's not a good look, But if you have so much business that you need to help other people and let them help you out a little bit and it's mutually beneficial, then that's amazing. I wish the whole business ran that way.
And again, I want to repeat this one more time. Just because we running our business like this doesn't mean this is the Bible. This is not something that you have to follow. Maybe my goal is different than yours. Maybe what I'm after is nothing like what you want, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to spend that kind of money in your business and you want to charge 10% of the commission. We are in it with a different vision. We are in it to change people's life in our business, and they can change our life.
Right.
That's basically what it is. We want to grow with each other.
Yeah.
And if somebody have a different mindset, they don't fit, man. They either quit or they get fired really quick. They feel out of place. If it's about somebody come out there and it's all about taking, not contributing, they feel out of place really quick.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think, you know what? I think I don't see any questions. And I think that's a great place to wrap it because that's such a good point.
Great.
Like that's just really, really solid.
Yeah. If your team has zero contribution, you probably got to dig into it and see why. Maybe you don't have enough contribution to the team. Right.
Or just ask. I mean, one of the things you talked about earlier, just having that conversation, just asking people and being open to feedback. So I think, that's really perfect. I appreciate you being on. I'm glad we got to connect more on this, and we'll do it again sometime.
Man. It was fun, man.
Very good. Well, thanks for being on.
Any question? I would love to help anybody. I don't want anything in return. I mean, just don't do the mistakes I did because that can be costly.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. We'll share that out with the recording to everybody too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lee. Thanks for having me.